to win this sweet throwback Christian McCaffrey autographed jersey. Just download the free Odyssey app and listen to 95.7 The Game wherever you go. Catch every Warriors game live on the app along with all the music in the Bay Area needs. Anthony Slater will join us at 8 o'clock to talk about the Golden State Warriors on the Boxer and Girls guest line. But let's go to Dave in Modesto. David in Modesto, what's happening, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Good morning.
You guys hear me? Good morning. Yeah, quick question, man. You guys think, well, I don't know, Kyle Shanahan, when we take this lead in this game, I don't want him to take his foot off the gas. I want him just to keep on racking up those points. And also, what do you guys think about Jed York just sitting back in his office now, letting the coaches do their thing?
I think Jed York's done a phenomenal job, basically empowering the right people, hiring the right people, being bold enough to fire certain people when he needed to. I think he's put his money where his mouth is in terms of having the money up front that you have to put in an escrow account to pay every player that we wanted to pay outside of, one trade that the organization decided to make, and that was the DeForest Buckner one, which I still feel is a little maybe unfair in terms of how that went down. It's just a bad decision to trade him. But I think Jed York's done a great job. Who is anybody mad at Jed York? This might be the highest approval rating of Jed York maybe ever.
I think Jed York's done an excellent job. Excellent job. You don't hear much from him when they win or when they lose.
Yeah.
You don't hear from him. Pardon me. Jed York, look, he's taking over this franchise and he took his lumps early, right? He was guaranteeing things to Texan Adam Schefter. Hey, we're going to win the NFC West. And it's like, Jed, you can't do that. He hires Harbaugh to slam dunk hire. He gets credit for that. We know how that ended. And everybody was Team Jed, Team Jim, Tim Trip Balky. Well, he washed his hands away from that. And he stepped out of the way. And I think one of the biggest spots, one of the biggest turning points for him was when he hired Kyle Shanahan. And there was a lot of leaks going on within this organization, outside of the organization. Everybody was hearing everything, right? Everybody could keep their mouth shut down in Santa Clara, whether it was Parag or Jed, whoever it was. They hired Kyle Shanahan, and for 2 weeks, they went radio silent on the GM spot. And then, boom, John Lynch is your GM of the 49ers. And it was almost like a test for Jed. Hey, don't say anything. We're going to do something that shakes up the football world. I remember texting with a guy 20 minutes after Lynch was hired. It was like, Lynch will be better than Elway as a GM of the 49ers. Lynch will be better than Elway.
Elway won a Super Bowl. He was pretty good. I think we underrated how good Elway was.
And Lynch quietly is stacking up some great draft picks, some great football teams. And Jed gets credit for that. He gets credit for paying. Think about all the guaranteed money he's dished out. It's been like over $400 million. Debo's money, Kittle's money, Warner's money, Trent Williams' money. Ayuk's going to get paid. Bosa's money, obviously. They pay for Quan Alexander, right? They pay for Quan. Javon Hargrave, you pay for him. D Ford, the second-round pick, and the money that they gave D Ford. They spent a lot. Charvarius Ward, Jed York. Money hasn't been an issue for Jed. And they're bringing the Super Bowl back here to Santa Clara. We've got the World Cup back here in Santa Clara. They've got concerts booming down in Santa Clara. Jed York does deserve credit.
Well, I think the area that you didn't bring up was the quarterback thing. When I look at some of the dysfunctional teams in the league right now, if I was just to say to you, the Carolina Panthers, what would you say?
A bad franchise.
Okay. David Tepper is a billionaire.
He's a businessman, but he doesn't know nothing about football.
Well, apparently he wanted to draft Bryce Young. Now, a lot of people wanted to draft Bryce Young. He's not alone in that. But when you trade away every single player around your quarterback, and then you end up trading all these picks to go up and get that guy, you didn't really give him a fighter's chance this year. You hired a bad coach for him to work with who was kind of a proven loser in Indianapolis. And my point being is that the owner has kind of gotten in the way, right? He's kind of gotten in the way regarding the quarterback, and that's unfortunate. When I look at Dak Prescott and Jerry Jones, I'm not sure Jerry Jones can make a non-emotional decision regarding the quarterback because of his relationship with Dak Prescott.
And that's been my belief with the Cowboys, that Jerry Jones is too much in the way. Well, think about after that game. There's a gazillion reporters in cameramen waiting on Jerry Jones to hold a presser. Like, I get it. Like, I may be that type of owner. If I ever owned a team, I will probably hold
100% would
like, you know, you want to get your own shine. But think about that. He's the owner, the GM, the decision maker. He tells Mike McCarthy who he's cutting. And he's holding pressers immediately after the game.
Yes.
That's a lot of pressure. And it's too much. And it's a reason why he hasn't won anything since 1995. I think he's too hands-on.
Well, the thing that I will give him respect for, at least he doesn't meddle. He just flat out calls himself the GM.
Right.
So he's different than the meddling owners. Like a meddling owner does it from the shadows.
Right.
At least Jerry has the guts to put GM as his title, I guess. I guess.
Yeah.
But my point is a bigger one. Like, think about the relationship he might have built with Jimmy Garoppolo, or just the equity that Jimmy has brought to the table in terms of, like, that guy has increased the value of my team. He's won a lot of games. I would have been understanding of Jed, like, growing a fondness for someone like Jimmy Garoppolo. Felt like he never got in the way of whatever Shanahan and Jimmy, whatever was going on there, the owner didn't get involved.
Right.
Then there's the Trey Lance thing. Hey, you're going to trade multiple firsts and move up and go get Trey Lance. A lot of owners would have been like, no, I want to see him play before you decide to dump him.
No, he empowered Shanahan, Lynch, Adam Peters, Parag, and said, you guys get it done. I trust you, and I back you 100%.
Exactly. And then you flip the card and you get to Purdy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how many owners would have been like, really, you're going to roll into the year with a guy coming off of a Tommy John, essentially, injury, and he was Mr. Irrelevant. That's what you're going to go with?
Right.
I don't know. I don't think we've given enough credit to Jed for standing back and allowing Kyle and John to do their jobs.
Well, how you feel about Jed? Because I know you were the biggest Jed York critic for a long, long time. How do you feel about Jed now?
I'm telling you how I feel. I think I'm shocked.
When did you?
It's this last calendar year.
Was it really this calendar year?
The way that a year ago, Jimmy Garoppolo was throwing on a small field, and I was not happy with that. I thought that would created chaos for everyone. He was throwing on a little tiny JV field, and your number 3 overall pick was, throwing balls into the ground at times at practice. Sometimes look good.
Right.
This calendar year to me has been a decade worth of growth for Jed. He could have aligned himself with Jimmy, with Trey. He could have been out on Brock. He could have done something. He didn't. He just let Shanahan do his thing.
Right.
And that's a great businessman.
See, I thought 2019 when the Niners had that run, and he didn't say much. Now he talked a little bit during the Super Bowl week, but I thought when they had the NFC Trophy presentation, and he allowed Kyle Shanahan to hand that bad boy over to Mike Shanahan, and Jed York stepping out of the way in that moment. It wasn't about him. He said, Shanahan, this is your baby. This is your moment. And he let father-son have that moment together on the podium after beating the Green Bay Packers. That, to me, I said, oh, wow. Jed's not a me guy. How many owners would have took that trophy and been raising it up?
A lot.
How many, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, think of Bill Newcomb snagging the World Series trophy out of Larry Bear's hands.
Exactly.
And raising it.
So York allowing Lynch and Shanahan and to be patient with them and to give them 2 extensions saying, I don't ever want you guys to look over your shoulder or think that you're on some sort of hot seat when the fan base is going crazy. Oh, man, look, over the last few years, people, oh, man, they should fire Shanahan. That was the thing. And I never got to that point firing Shanahan. I was very critical of Shanahan, but I'm like, we're not going to fire this guy. Let's not be silly here. He remained patient, gave them big fat extensions. He allowed them to do what they did. I think Jed York, it happened in 2019. That was the moment for me. I saw that trophy presentation where I'm like, okay, I even had to tweet out. I think I tweeted him during the pandemic. It was like, wow, Jed, you're so mature. And he quote tweeted me saying, well, my wife doesn't think so. That right there, the humility. We didn't see that at first with Jed York. The fact that he could joke on Twitter like that, and I'm like, you know what? Jed's all right, man. He took his lumps, and you got to think about the pressure to try to live up to his Uncle Eddie D. And a lot of people scoffed at that. But now that you look back, and he said, it's not about hanging banner. We're about hanging Super Bowl banners here. I respect that even more so now today than I did, 10, 15 years ago when he said that.
Well, let's just go. You said 2019. So, that's 5 years. It's been 5 years for the 49ers on this little run right here. They haven't won a championship, but they've been more successful throughout the regular season than the Warriors in that 5-year run. Even though the Warriors been to 2 championships during that period and won one, lost the other one. Like, I know it's tough to say. It's crazy to say out loud.
Well, I think about the NBA regular season, and we know what the Warriors were. It doesn't mean
what the NFL does. They've been more successful than the Giants.
Right. No, that's for sure.
More. I would put the Niners on a short list. What do you think? Top 10? Top 15? Most stable pro franchises in North American sports in that 5-year run.
Right now? Absolutely.
From 2019 to now.
Absolutely.
And I think Jed deserves credit for that. Ownership deserves credit for that. He's not perfect. He's made mistakes. Prior, we could scoff at maybe the location of the stadium. At least they're here. As I watch the vagabond Oakland A's situation where they don't even have a stadium. They might play in Sacramento. It's not the greatest in the world, and I've had my own issues with the location of the stadium and the design. But at least they're here. Well, at least I can take my son to a game.
Well, let's hear from Jacob in San Francisco. I think he has some thoughts on the Niners playing in Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. What's up, Jacob?
What's up, guys? How's it going? Listen every morning driving to work.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, appreciate everything Jed's been doing, letting the guys do their thing, Kyle and Lynch. But to your point, I don't think he'll ever be forgiven until we have a parade down Market Street holding that trophy for taking the Niners out of San Francisco, moving them to Santa Clara. I got people in my family that refuse to go to Santa Clara because they grew up going to Candlestick their entire lives. So just want to make that point.
They're not alone. There are a lot of people who feel that way. And this is what I would say. My buddy Della, who's out there, I'm never going to go to Levi's. You know who went to the final game, Week 18, at Levi's for the first time in his life? This guy went to every Candlestick game. My boy Della is one of the most diehard Niner fans I know. Educated Niner fan, knows his stuff. I've probably been, I don't know, 50-plus Niner games with this dude at Candlestick. Easy. From the second we graduated high school until we were, adults, fully adults. They finally went to his first game. Time heals all wounds.
Well, I know a lot of my friends, the O'Haras. Danny O'Hara. The O'Hara
used
family.
To go to all the Candlestick games.
They haven't been to one Levi Stadium game yet. Haven't gone to one.
Yeah, but they still watch.
Of course they'll watch, but they won't go. They won't go. And that's their prerogative, and I don't fault anybody. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a day to get out of Santa Clara.
Oh.
I will not just sweat. It's a day. There's a couple regular season games this year. I just gave the tickets away. It's you know what? I'd rather watch this one on the couch. Because you go down there, you get there, and if you don't leave at the right time, you're going to get stuck down there for a long time. Look, it's a pain in the ass, no doubt. They need to improve the situation down there with the traffic and the parking lot and everything It's not perfect.
It's not just on the team. That's also on
It's
local,
on the county and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot baked into it.
It's a lot baked into it. But
I would agree.
You know what? It can be a nightmare at times. And there's a lot of Niner fans who say, yeah, I'm not going to Levi's. And that's fine. That's their prerogative. I like to go watch football games. And so when I was able to get a press pass back in 2015 for the 49ers, and in 2016, I went down to all those games because it's pro football. And what was great about the Bay Area, which is why I'm sad about the Raiders being in Vegas, was every single week there was pro football in the Bay Area. So if the Niners weren't playing here, I'll go to the Raiders game at the Coliseum. I like pro football. I like seeing teams play. I like seeing the athletes perform at the highest levels in pro football. So the fact that we still have pro football in the Bay Area, I can live with that. So, look, Jed had to do what he had to do to get a stadium. You got that stadium. Now you're going to have 2 Super Bowls in 10 years. Now you're going to have a World Cup. Now you have Beyonce coming out here. You had Taylor Swift doing 2 days of concerts. Well, and so it is what it is.
But I think it's important that we stay, me, Mr. Businessman, but having that revenue is how you pay all those salaries. Yeah. Having that revenue is how you ditch 2 coaches and find the right one in Kyle Shanahan. Having that money gives you the capital on top of the national television contracts. But that's why
they had
it's
to
important.
Move. And
exactly. That's why it's important to have a stadium.
Candlestick wasn't producing anything, by the way.